Interesting. Why would Tim Cook adopt Hollywood? I mean, go all the way, Tim. You got the Heaven's Gate alien spacecraft. Why don't you give him a buzz? Paint a picture on it, make a movie out of it, drag your wrench across the floor, tell the fucking FDA I'll do and say what I want, and China's gonna love it.
J.D. Power, proving there's only one best network.
Netflix, because its earnings are out after the bell and investors are always watching those subscriber additions. It's also kind of a bellwether for where we are in the shutdown reopening trade here. The company added nearly 26 million new subscribers during quarantine last year, but less than 4 million new users in the first quarter of this year. They're expecting to add only about 1 million in the second quarter. Julia, stock is about flat this year too. What do you think the whisper is? That are expectations pretty low, you think?
Well, look, I think analysts are really hoping that they will surpass that 1 million number. That 1 million number is so low, and it really speaks to the pull forward, but also concerns about a saturated market. The real question, though, Kelly, is what they say about the second half of the year. Netflix already hinted that they expect growth to pick up again in the second half of the year, but now analysts are going to be looking for specific guidance for third quarter subscriber growth, and the number that analysts are looking for is about 5.5 million subscriber net additions in the third quarter. So that is the number I would watch in terms of guidance. And I think also, Kelly,
nature of business. What business owners are bigger than you? When you're like, oh, well, I put money on Tesla. Yeah, but I can't fucking figure it out when they were slamming your dick in with the fucking labor market and working from home horse shit. Paint you a picture, make a fucking series about it, Gilmore
for 25
Girls,
years.
and
Somebody once said that a second marriage was the triumph of hope over experience. That's what analysts do. It's hope over experience. I think 76% still have a buy on this. Are you kidding me? Look, you don't like the first half? Oh, don't worry. The second half will have better content growth. It's always a little bit sunnier on the other half. This is the story about Netflix. This is a company that was trading for 100 times forward earnings 4 or 5 years ago. It is still remarkably trading for 40 times forward earnings. That's way high. Yes, the company still has significant earnings growth, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's becoming more mature. That PE multiple is slowly coming down, and it should be. Let's debate how many subscribers, but there's clearly a limit to how far they can go at this point, and certainly in the United States.
Although, Nancy, I understand sort of in this case the bullishness of the analyst
you are
community,
fucking
because
people.
Famously, when I was heard on the street about a decade ago, if you tried to go short
You're
Netflix,
fucking people. Look,
God help
I don't
you.
care.
I mean,
this
like
is
Bob
going to
said,
be
it was 100
counted for.
times earnings. It was even higher, and the stock just kept going and
I
going
went
and
with
going.
it. It's
So
like,
the
oh, it's a
remarkable thing
problem.
lately
No,
is to
maybe
see it
because some
finally kind of
dickhead
catch
is
its breath
driving the
after
wheel.
their huge subscriber ads last year. Do you think they're ever going to go back to the kind of stratosphere-esque valuations they once commanded?
MNT.
I don't
Maybe
think
that
so, Kelly.
means some things when I tell you that code, that's how it would behave.
The emergence into gaming is a hint to investors that they understand that the streaming business is slowing down, and they've guided us accordingly. That said, as a growth at a reasonable price investor, this stock is almost in our buy range, having done almost nothing
take it.
on
Let
a
the
trailing
mathematics
one-year
do
basis.
it. Not
So
save it.
I think
Not
you
write the
watch
new
earnings. This company
utopia in terms
has
of what it
exceeded
is.
earnings
Because some
75%
Karen
of
had
the
a hold of
time.
the damn
They have
wheel
pricing
telling
power,
some
at least they
goddamn
have
bed story that wasn't
historically.
true
And if
about
they
walk the
maintain both
fuck
of those,
outside
I
and
think you
take
might
a
get a chance
notebook.
to step in. Despite what happened
That's rabbit cow.
from an earnings
That's going to be
standpoint, but I
spray
agree
paints
with Bob.
inside
I
us
mean,
here. That's
we
going to
wouldn't
be
have so
gang
many
fucking
earnings
numbers. It's going to
surprises
be
if
fucking
analysts were good at estimating
tap
earnings.
houses and trap
for Netflix to be a garbage
houses
stock
and
certainly tells us that
the
a
whole damn
maturation phase.
landscape
Bob, I just
around
want to give you
there.
a quick coda,
Every
quick last word
dimension.
on
Because
that.
when I get to somebody's house and they give me the problem,
Well, I
I'm
agree
smash
with
them.
what Nancy said. Look, the important thing is the company has been a fabulous performer for a decade. But it's been out for almost 20 years. Just recognize that. And people, I know we keep trying to get the subscriber ads right, but it's getting smaller and smaller. The ability to add more people smaller and smaller as the company gets more mature. Just understand that still good earnings growth. Look at that numbers that they've added the yearly additions earnings growth, but it ain't anywhere near it was 4, 5, 6, or 7 years ago.
And the competition is getting steeper. So on that front, moving along to our next story here, Apple is reportedly looking to lease studio space in Hollywood to expand its ability to film original shows and movies. Sources telling the Wall Street Journal Apple has interest in several locations around LA and needs no less than 500,000 square feet of space. It launched a couple of years ago, Apple TV Plus, and it's produced a few hits like Ted Lasso and The Morning Show, but it's still woefully behind the competition. Julia, is this the right
I'm
strategy?
walking the tracks, balance, stability, training my Pokemon.
Well, look, I think it makes sense for Apple to invest in more original content. It said that it didn't care about having a big library. That said, I have heard from sources that they have had meetings with Hello Sunshine, that's Reese Witherspoon's company, about potentially buying that company. No word, official word from the company there, and it's unclear to whom that Hello Sunshine might sell to. But I think that clearly Apple understands it needs more original content. And having more studio space is a great way to do it with talent that wants to stay here in Los Angeles. There is a limited amount of studio space in Hollywood. That's why we saw Netflix open a big studio facility in Albuquerque. So I think it makes sense as Apple thinks about growing what it can offer as it tries to use that service as a way to really bring people into this ecosystem.
Nancy, do investors want Apple to double down on its investments here for the obvious reasons of the kind of stock multiple they could engender with a higher subscriber count, or does it make them worried that they're losing focus on the profitability of the main model?
It's a weapon.
Well, I think that Apple needs to do something new. And this is an opportunity for them to do that. However, I would also say that original content, as we saw with Netflix, is very expensive. And Disney, came out and had a whole library of historical content,
this
and
Danger
they've
Doodle
been able to grow that fast at marginal expense.
Right?
So I think it makes sense for Apple to dip their toe in. I don't really have a sense of how successful they're going to be. We've been net sellers in stock, as you know, and it does strike me that you've got Apple hiring a Netflix exec, Netflix hiring a Facebook exec.
You that pen one more time against somebody else and you leave that Z-coin on the table for this nation.
Yeah, now Facebook needs to hire a TikTok exec or something like that to just keep this whole thing going. Or maybe you should just skip ahead. All right, we'll move along and leave the streaming wars alone for now. The NASDAQ is partnering with big banks now to spin out its platform for trading stock in private companies. The NASDAQ private market will become a standalone company, receiving investments from the likes of Citi, Goldman, and Morgan Stanley. The platform was established all the way back in 2014 and allows brokers, companies, even private investors to manage and execute stock transactions pre-IPO. So, Bob, this wasn't
I'm gonna get them all in a
yesterday innovation, so to speak. But why are they taking this step now?
Range like a packet.
Because the
hit that
potential
plate so
is there. So think
hard.
about
If I don't hit it, it'll know
employee
run
of a
on the
company,
ground and stay there.
They thought there was going to be an IPO after 5 years, and they're now 10 years. They want to buy a house. There's pressure on them. There's no obvious market. A venture capital firm that has a 5-year investment horizon, and they're in 10 years on that. This is a very, very common problem. So there is a market need. Here's the real issue. The companies want to control this. They want to make it very clear, you're not going to set up some private market. We're trading privately in our house for $100, and you want to sell for $80. Most of the cases I have seen here, you need the company's permission. If you're a venture capital or employee, and they want to control that price. To the extent NASDAQ has an agreement with them to do that, I think that's certainly a good idea. And I think it'll be a little bit of a pressure valve release for these companies who are facing pressure from venture capital and their own employees. It'd be nice to see more companies IPO. Isn't that what is all about?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC.